Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's session is about the coordinate geometry part 2. And if you haven't watched the part 1, I'll give link in the description. Go out and watch it. It's about the introduction and the distance formula in the coordinate geometry. So now let us focus on the part 2, which is about the section formula. Right, what it is, section formula, one of the most examiners favorite topic, section formula. So now let us see. First, let us have a basic understanding of what does section formula mean. Okay, so they'll give 2 points, right, point A and point B, and they will say a point P is located somewhere in between them and divides this line segment formed by these points into certain ratio, like x is to y ratio. So we need to find out what are the coordinates of the point. So this is how it is. Else they will give a point p which is 2 comma 4, and we should find out the ratio, right? So this is how it is. First let us understand its derivation, and then let us go into its applications, right? So let me draw a Cartesian plane. So which axis it is? X axis, right? And which axis it is? Y axis. Okay. Now let us locate a point A here and point B here. Okay. And let us have a point P over here. And let's say its ordinates are coordinates are x1 comma y1, and this is x comma y, and this is x2 comma y2. Okay, so these are the points, and this forms a line segment, and this is our point which divides the line segment into some m1 is to m2 ratio. Okay, so what shall we do? Let us draw a perpendicular line from the point A to on the x-axis. Let us say it is as q. So its coordinates are x1 comma y1. It means the distance of the point from the y-axis is x coordinate, which is x1. So this distance is x1. Similarly, this distance becomes x1, right? And same, draw a perpendicular line from the point P on the x-axis, say it as some r. The same thing. The coordinates are x comma y. So the the x coordinate of the P is x. So this whole distance becomes x. And the y coordinate of the P is y. So this whole length becomes y. Okay. And the same thing for the B. Let us say it as some s, and the whole x value becomes x2, right? Whole x value becomes x2, and whole this length becomes y2. Okay, now let us draw a line which is parallel to the x-axis, and here also parallel to the x-axis. Okay, now let us find out its length. Okay, this whole length is x, this length is x1. So this length becomes what? Whole length minus this length, x minus x1. So this length also becomes x minus x1. Okay, then the same here. So this we need to find out this length. The whole length is x2, and this length is x. So this length becomes x2 minus x. Okay, we need to find out this length. Are you understanding? So this whole length is y, and this length is y1. So this length becomes y minus y1. The same, we need to find out this length. The whole length is y2, right? And this length is y. So this becomes y2 minus y. That's it. Right. Now let us just concentrate on these two triangles only. So let us zoom in. Okay. So yes. So this point is P, this point is A, this point is B. Right. Let us say this point is some see this point as some D. Okay, so this length, what is this length? X2 minus x, and this length is y2 minus y. Okay, now this length is x minus x1, x minus x1, right? And this length is y minus y1, y minus y1. Okay, now this is a right angle triangle, right? And this point P is dividing the line segment into which ratio? M1 is to M2 ratio. We have said it previously, right? So these angles are equal because the same line is passing, and these two parallel lines are parallel to the x-axis, so these angles are similar. And this, however, right angles both equal to 90, so angle similarity, so these two triangles are similar. If the two triangles are similar, then we can say the ratio of the sides are equal. Okay, now this side, hypotenuse side by hypotenuse side. Okay, right, AP by PB is equals to, this is the opposite side by opposite side, so PC by BD, which is equals to adjacent side by adjacent side. Okay, so AC by PD, right? We have got this. Okay, now what is meant by AP by PB? It is nothing but a ratio of this side by this side. We have already told that this point divides this line segment into M1 is to M2 ratio. So this part is M1 times and this part is M2 times. So AP by PB becomes M1 by M2, right? And what is PC? PC is y minus y1, y minus y1. And what is BD? BD is y2 minus y, which is equals to AC. What is AC? X minus x1 by, what is PD? PD is x2 minus x. So here we have got this one. So we shall solve this. First of all, we'll solve this two first, then we'll solve this in this. Okay, so now y m1 by m2 is equals to y minus y1 by y2 minus y. We'll solve this. Just cross multiply it, right? M1 of y2 minus y is equals to m2 of y minus y1. Expand it. M1 into m2. M1 m2 minus m1 into y. M1 y is equals to m2 into y. M2 y minus m2 into y1. M2 y1. Now bring the y terms to one side and other terms to the other side. So the y, send this term to the opposite side and send this term to the other side. Minus becomes plus. Okay, so now m1 y2, this term we send that side, so it is in minus, it becomes plus. So plus m2 y1 is equals to, here m2 y, we have sent this term to the opposite side, so it becomes plus m1 y. Now take y common here, m1 plus m2. Take y common here, it becomes m1 plus m2 is equals to m1 y2 plus m2 y1. Now y coordinate is equals to m1 y2 plus m2 y1 by m1 plus m2. Now we have got the y coordinate. Similarly, we'll solve for x coordinate of the point P. So what did we get previously? M1 by M2 is equals to x minus x1 by x2 minus x. Same, cross multiply both. So m1 of x2 minus x is equals to m2 of x minus x1. Okay, so now just multiply m1 x2 minus m1 x is equals to m2 x minus m2 x1. Okay, now bring the x terms to the other side and other terms to the other side, right? Now it becomes m1 x2 plus this term we have sent that side, so it becomes positive. m2 x1 is equals to, we have sent this term to the other side, so it becomes plus m2 x plus m1 x. Now take out x as common, so if you take x common it becomes m1 plus m2. Okay, now we need x, so x is equals to this term m1 x2 plus, okay, m2 x1 by m1 plus m2, right? So we have got the x coordinate and we have got the y coordinate. So these are the coordinates of our point. So now the section formula is point P of the coordinate x comma y, which divides a line segment forming by the points A and B of coordinates x1 comma y1 and x2 comma y2. This point P is equals to what we got the x value, m1 x2 plus m2 x1 by m1 plus m2, such as same as y, no, the same for y coordinate, m1 y2 plus m2 y1 by m1 plus m2. It divides in a ratio m1 is to m2. So this is the most favorite and it is most repeated question. You will find it in the boards for sure. So this is a section formula, right? X point P of x comma y is equals to m1 x2 plus m2 x1 by m1 plus m2, and point P for y coordinate is m1 y2 plus m2 y1 by m1 plus m2, right? Now let us solve an examples of this, right? We have seen the concept, we have understood its derivation. Now let us solve some examples. Okay, so if a point A with the coordinates 4 comma minus 3 and point B with the coordinates 8 comma 5, and a point Q is there which divides this line segment formed by this points into ratio 3 is to 1. Okay, now we need to find the coordinates of this point. So now let us say, okay, let us say point Q is over here which divides this line segment into 3 is to 1 ratio. We need to find its coordinates. Simple, just write the values and just substitute in the formula. That's all. So we'll write the values. x1 is 4, right? y1 is minus 3, x2 is 8, y2 is 5, and the ratio m1 is to m2 is 3 is to 1. We have now half solved the problem. So now we need a point Q of coordinates x comma y, that is equals to, we know the formula, m1 into x2, m1 x2, so 3 into 8, m1 x2 plus m2 x1, so 4 into 1 by m1 plus m2, 3 plus 1 is 4, comma y coordinates m1 y2, 5 is to 3, 5 into 3 plus m2 y1, so 1 into minus 3 by m1 plus m2 is 4. That's all. So what is 3 into 8, 24 plus 4 by 4 comma 15 minus 3 by 4. So 28 by 4, which is 7, right? And 15 minus 3 is 12. 12 by 4 is 3. So now we got the point Q with the coordinates 7 comma 3, which divides the line segment formed by this, no, by these 2 points into 3:1 ratio. The coordinates are 7 comma 3. This is the direct question. This is a guarantee, 200% guarantee question that could be asked in your board exams. Okay, now let us solve another model. So this is the model 1. Model 1, which is a direct. Let us say we have a point P of coordinates minus 4 comma 6 and a point O of coordinates minus 6 comma 10 and point R of coordinates 3 comma minus 8. So this is the line segment formed by these 2 points. Now this point is somewhere, we don't know where it is. It divides the line segment into certain ratio, right? M1 is to M2. So what is that ratio? We need to find out. So basically we need to find out M1 is to M2 ratio. We know the point, right? Just substitute in the formula, that's all. So we know point P of minus 4 comma 6 is equals to M1 x2. What is x2? x2 is 3. M1 into x2 plus M2, we don't know, into x1. x1 is minus 6 by M1 plus M2, we don't know M1 plus M2, comma M1 y2. What is y2? Minus 8 plus M2 into y1. What is y1? Sorry, y1, that is 10, right, by M1 plus M2. Now let us solve individually. So first let us equate the x coordinates. This is the x coordinate, this is x coordinate, both are equal, right? So let us equate it first. So minus 4 is equals to 3m1 minus 6 is there, right? 6m2 by m1 plus m2. Now just cross multiply this. Minus 4 of m1 plus minus 4 of m1 plus m2 is equals to 3m1 minus 6m2. So just distribute it. Minus 4m1 minus 4m2 is equals to 3m1 minus 6m2. Now send m1 terms to one side and m2 terms to the one side and m1 terms to the other side. So okay, so minus 4m1 minus 4m1, we have sent this to the other side. Minus 3m1 is equals to minus 6m2. This minus becomes plus, that's it, plus 4m2. So what does it become? Minus 2m2 is equals to minus 4 minus 3 is minus 7. Minus 7m1. Okay, minus 7m1 minus 2m2, right? Now minus minus cancel. M1 by M2 send is equals to 2. Send this to the other side. 2 by 7. M1 by M2 is equals to 2 by 7. So we got the ratio by just equating the x coordinates. Similarly, you can just equate y coordinates and find, right? So the ratio which we need is 2 by 7. That's all. So this is another model. Model 2. Okay. Now let us see another model of question. Now let us see model 3. In model 3 we have given a line segment and we need to find points of trisection. Points of trisection. What does trisection mean? It divides the line segment into 3 equal parts. So let us say a point, this is AB, point P here and point Q here. So these points, these 2 points divides the line segment into 1, 2, 3 equal parts. So we need to find out these points. So let us do an example of it, then we'll understand the concept better. Let us say point A is 2 comma minus 2. Okay, and point B is minus 7 comma 4. Right. Now we need to find out this P and Q. Before that, this P divides the whole line segment into 1 is to 2 parts. So this P divides the whole line segment into 1 is to 2 part. Like that, in the same way, Q divides the whole line segment into 2 is to 1 part. So this divides into 2 is to 1 part. The problem is solved. Now we need to find out P. We have its M1 and M2 values or ratios. And we need to find out Q. We have its M1 and M2 values. The problem is solved. Let us find out P. P certain xy is equals to M1 is to M2 is 1 is to 2, right? So M1 into x2. What is x2? Minus 7. M1 x2 plus M2 x1. What is M2? 2. Into x1 is 2 by M1 plus M2. 1 plus 2 is 3, comma. M1 y2. What is y2? 4. M1 y2 plus M2 y1. M2 is 2 and y1 is minus 2 by M1 plus M2 is 3. Now that's all. Minus 7 plus 4 by 3, comma 4 minus 4 by 3. Okay, so minus 7 plus 4 is minus 3 by 3, comma 4 minus 4 is 0. So the point P of x and y coordinates is equals to minus 1 comma 0. Minus 1 comma 0. Likewise, let us find out the Q. Okay, its ratio is 2 is to 1. Okay, so Q here is equals to x comma y is equals to M1. What is its M1? Its M1 is 2. M1 x2. What is x2? It is minus 7. Okay. M1 x2 plus M2. What is M2? 1. M2 x1. What is x1? 2. M2 x1 by M1 plus M2 is 3, comma y coordinate. M1 is 2. M1 y2 plus M2 is 1 y1 by M1 plus M2. Right, let us solve this. So 2 into minus 7 minus 14 plus 2 by 3, comma 8. 8 minus 2 is 6 by 3. Okay, so minus 14 plus 2 is minus 12 by 3, comma 6 by 2 is 2. Okay, so minus 4 comma 2 is a point Q. Point Q is minus 4 comma 2. Point P is minus 1 comma 0. So this is a point of trisection. Point P we got minus 1 comma 0. Point Q we got minus 4 comma 2. So this divides the line segment into 3 equal parts. So this is another model. Okay, now let us see another model, which is a famous k is to 1 ratio. Right, we'll not assume like m1 is to m2 ratio, because we need to find the two unknowns. It becomes difficult, so we'll assume it as k is to 1 ratio. The k indeed means m1 is to m2. Okay, so this is a famous model. Now let us see an example of it. Okay, now we should find the ratio in which y-axis divides the point A of coordinates 5 comma minus 6 and point B of coordinates minus 1 comma minus 4. So we should find the ratio. We should assume it as k is to 1, because for just to make it easy, that's all. For just calculation friendly, we should assume it as a ratio k is to 1. You can assume it as m1 is to m2 also, but it becomes a lengthy process, that's all. So now we need to find the ratio. Let us say this is a coordinate Cartesian plane, and let us have here, you know, in the fourth quadrant point A, because plus sign and minus sign is there, right? And the point B, which is both minus, so my somewhere over here in the third quadrant. So this y-axis divides this line segment formed by these parts into certain ratio. We need to find out what it is. So I've already told you the points on the y-axis. What are its coordinates? X value is 0, comma y. Okay. Now the problem is solved. Let us assume this point P, which divides the line segment into k is to 1 ratio. Point P 0, comma 1 is equals to. We need to find out M1 and M2, right? So M1 is to M2. Let us assume k is to 1. So M1 is k and M2 is 1. So now in the section formula, M1 is k, M1 x2. What is x2? Which is minus 1. M1 x2 plus M2. M2 is 1. Y1. M2 x1, right? X1 is 5 by M1 plus M2, k plus 1, comma. Similarly, M1 y2. Y2 is minus 4 plus M2 is 1 and y1. Y1 is minus 6 by M1 plus M2, k plus 1. That's all. So for making it easy, let us equate it. Let us equate the x coordinates, because it is however 0, so it becomes more easier, right? So now minus k plus this is 5, minus k plus 5 by k plus 1 is equals to 0. If you send this term over here, it becomes 0. So k plus 5 is equals to 0. Then send this k to the other side, becomes positive, k is equals to 5. Right. It means it divides the y-axis is dividing the line segment formed by these points into k is to 1 ratio, that is 5 is to 1 ratio. The problem is solved. Now let us see model 5. It is of parallelogram. Parallelogram. You know parallelogram, right? The two sides are parallel to each other. These two sides are parallel to each other. These two sides are parallel to each other. And the diagonals, this is a diagonal and this is the diagonal which bisects, means this diagonal divides this line segment into equal ratio, 1 is to 1 ratio, and this diagonal divides this line segment into equal ratio. Bisects, we say it as bisects, which divides into two equal parts. Bi means two, right? That means if I tell a parallelogram A, B, C, D, there is a point here which is dividing this segment into equal parts. Can I call it as midpoint? What can I call it as midpoint, right? A line segment, the midpoint means it is a mid of both, which divides into 1 is to 1 ratio. Okay. And for this diagonal also, it is dividing into 1 is to 1 ratio. So can I call it as a midpoint? And both midpoints of these both diagonals are intersecting each other, means midpoint of these diagonals are same. Okay, so this is a concept. Now let us solve a problem. So I have a point A of 6 comma 1 and point B of 8 comma 2 and point C of 9 comma 4 and point D of P comma 3. Okay, now I should find what is this P. if these are the vertices of a parallelogram. So how can I find this? This, just find out the diagonal length. Hmm? Okay, just find out the midpoint of this both. Okay, so I need to find the P. So just find the midpoint of this diagonal and midpoint of this diagonal, equated because both are same no. Right. What is the midpoint of 6 and 1 and 9 and 4? Just the midpoint is x1 plus x2 by 2 comma y1 plus y2 by 2. Okay. So what is x1? We should find the midpoint of diagonal AC. x1 is 6 plus x2 is 9 by 2 comma y1 plus y2. y1 is 1, y2 is 4 by 2. This is the midpoint of AC. Let us find the midpoint of BD diagonal. What is x1? x1 plus x2. x1 plus x2 by 2 comma y1 plus y2. y1 plus y2 by 2. Okay. Now let us equate it because both midpoints are same. So we want P. Just equate the x coordinates. 15 by 2. 15 by 2 is equals to 8 plus P by 2. 2 cancel. P is equals to 15 minus 8, which is 7. The P is 7. That's all. And the next part is about the area of a triangle when 3 points are given. There are beautiful models and its derivation. So I'll upload it the other day. So if you liked my concept and like this channel, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you want some another chapter particularly, just comment down in the comment section, and you can even post the doubts. I'll try to clarify. So thanks for watching. Bye bye.